This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Would you like to sample some of my nuts?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Old Man Strength, brought to you by the Three Beards Media Network. With my partner, Aaron Wall, I am Chris Shipley. Aaron, how are you today?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I got a working ambulance. I'm so excited. I got my Cyclone branded ambulance, so it's running. It's currently sitting in my driveway. I've gotten a lot of looks in the neighborhood. So,
Oh, that's fantastic. I saw on Twitter the one Hawkeye that said when you lose, you'll refrain from calling the ambulance, and I thought that was still pretty funny.
it was pretty funny, right?
Yeah.
I took a video of it and like did a 360 video, and like a couple seconds later, some dude like commented on the tweet and said, "I think I might live across the street from you." And then this guy walks out of his house. He's like, "Yeah, sure enough, I saw my house in the background." So
That's funny.
it's a little creepy, but
That's pretty funny.
I've hit the siren a couple times to scare the shit out of the neighbors, but I really got to find a place to go test it. So
Scare the shit out of, annoy. I mean, call it what
Right.
you want, Chris, but
whatever. That's all right. My neighbor's a Hawkeye fan, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
I'm all right. We talked a little bit. I think it was the last time we were here about our golf goals, and I wanted to break 90 again.
Yeah,
I played on Saturday and I shot an even 90, so it's coming. I'm
right
within
there.
reach. Any time now, I'll break it again. If I could stop, blowing up 2 or 3 holes
Right.
around, low 80s could be in play, but those quads and stuff that when I shank a couple out of bounds or something really hurt the old score.
Yeah, that hurts it, right?
Yeah,
I'm heading down to the Ozarks in 2 weekends to go on my little golf trip with my buddies. So I'm super
Nice.
excited. Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned golf because I think our guest plays quite a bit of golf, or at least it looks like he does some charity work with golf and stuff like that too. So, Aaron, I'll go ahead and let you introduce our guest.
Oh, me? What?
You want me to do it?
Well,
I'll do it.
Yeah, you do it.
I'll do it. All right. Well, we are super excited to bring on the chairman of JR's Southpork Ranch, the creator of the Blue Ribbon Bacon Fest, the one and only Brooks Reynolds was kind enough to hop on. Brooks, thanks for coming on with us.
How you boys doing tonight?
We're doing all right. Not too bad. How about you?
I'm doing great. I just got done grilling. It was a beautiful night out at my lady's house. Came home here. My house smells like paint. They're painting inside. I'm remodeling the house. I'm drinking out of my water cup. Hold on, let me get that.
There we go.
I'm thirsty. I got to hydrate. If you want to bring that ambulance to the Bacon Fest, we could put it somewhere.
Yeah. Don't tease me. I'll drive that sucker right up there.
Sure.
So-
That's so weird. I got kicked out of Iowa in '96, but I cheered for the Cyclones when I was a little kid. And we had season tickets, and Johnny Orr was a great friend of my father's and my family's, and so I cheer for the Hawks. But whenever we're not playing the Cyclones, I'll give them a little root, here and there.
Well, don't put that on Twitter because apparently you're not a real fan if you root for the other team. Apparently that's the rumor that I've been told.
That's all right.
Screw those people. Listen, that was all about Caitlin Clark, and you just gotta give that girl some props. I mean,
Oh yeah,
she's a hell of a player. So
yes she is.
Well, I can say that now that she's not a Hawkeye, I can agree with you. It has nothing to do with the individual players. It has everything to do with Hawkeyes. So now that she's going somewhere else, yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, Brooks, you mentioned your dad was friends with Johnny Orr, and you guys had season tickets. Why don't we start right there and just kind of tell us a little bit about Brooks when he was younger, and where you grew up, and what that was like.
Sure. Well, actually, the house I am remodeling is my family home. I My parents moved into here in August of 1975. I was born 5 months later in January of 76, and they just kind of have all. My dad always loved this house. My dad traveled so much for work that his house was his sanctuary, and we're on the west side of Des Moines, and it's this nice old split level that I'm remodeling. Had a born and raised here in Des Moines, love it. Had a very unique and interesting childhood. My parents were very involved in local nonprofits, but their passion was Variety, the children's charity, which just celebrated its kind of 50th year rebirth in the early 70s. They were going to lose their charter, and my parents had lost a child. She didn't have the medical care that they do today to take care of what she had, her ailments. She had one lung, one kidney, and she just had a struggle, and she passed away at about 14 months. But they dedicated their lives to helping kids, and it started with giving away rocking chairs to Blank Children's Hospital, because that's where my sister spent a lot of her time during her short stay on this earth. And then in the 74, a man named Stephen Blank of the Blank family, it was a client of my father's, and he was a member of this club called Variety Club. And he's like, "Hey, I would like you to join this organization and help us get it to where it needs to be," because they raised $5,000 in 1973. So in 1974, they raised 155,000, all went to Blank Children's Hospital, and that's
Wow.
kind of what started. But so I was involved in a volunteer family. My father had owned his own business. My mother took care of 5 kids, so she was a stay-at-home mom. And we just we put on a telethon for 47 years. Sadly, the pandemic kind of put an end to that. But that organization has raised over 130 million for anything to do with kids, well, whether it's mobility issues, neonatal intensive care units at Blank, Mercy, Youth Emergency Shelter and Services, Boys and Girls Club Y. I mean, anything to do with kids.
Yeah,
The money, we basically were a fundraising arm, and a couple on early, I think it was March 2nd, we had our 50th anniversary celebration. I think they raised 7.7 million this year, which is
that's
crazy.
crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
But like, it was funny. I was cooking at my girlfriend's, and she takes care of a woman with autism, and we were watching the Golden Girls. And B. Arthur was a great friend of my parents. She would come to Des Moines for our telethon for 4, 5, 6 years. I can't remember how many, just because I was a little boy back then. And it's just funny to see someone who's been in my house, be a hit TV series in the 80s. And but we just was raised to give back and do what we can to be part of a good member of our community. And like this weekend, I did the American Lung Association's stair fight for air climb with my girlfriend, and climbed 85 flights, raised about $2,500. It was the first year, but just trying to again give back. But yeah, born and raised here in Des Moines, loved it. Went to Roosevelt, had a lot of fun there. A lot of fun, and went to a couple colleges. Iowa was one of them. But it's not good to go to transfer to Iowa your sophomore year when all your buddies are bartenders at the Union and Bo James and
Yeah.
and Vito's, and when you have five fake IDs that are horrible, but they get you into the bars. That's not a good mix. But yeah, went to a couple colleges, and then taught English abroad in South Korea when I was 24. Really enjoyed that, immersing myself in another culture. I love to travel. I mean, that's my, I guess that's what I like to do as much as I can. But next to golf, I would say travel's for number one. But I will golf when I travel. But I'd like to travel, and my goal is to see 100, go to 100 countries. I'm at like 42 right now. I have a list. I have a list on my
Wow.
phone. But love to travel, love to entertain, love to put on events. And the nonprofit world put me. I did a lot of fundraising events when I was a teenager with my mom. My mom would
Right.
drag me around to all these events and be like, "Hey, we got to do this, we got to do that." Da, 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 da. So I always just kind of absorbed what it was like to put on events, and Bacon Fest started as a charity event. Um, being in Des Moines, you have to. I love Des Moines. Des Moines. I mean, where are you, gentlemen? Are you both from Iowa?
I'm in Norwalk. Aaron's in Washington, but he's originally from Iowa.
Oh, so we got Pacific. I love the Pacific Northwest. I mean, Oregon coast. Anyways, but uh, you got to make your community what it is, and you can't just be expect to events everyone to do events, and not everyone puts on events, which is fine. But it was one of those things where I was just always involved. I was asked in 2001 to reinvigorate Young Variety, which is the young professionals arm of Variety, the children's charity. So then I got about 10, 15 of my buddies and their wives and some of my ex-girlfriends and friends, and we just started a young professionals group to again help the kids. And that was in 2001. We raised $8,000. When I was 20, I was 25, 23 years ago. We couldn't afford going to $100 events, $100, a
Right.
price for an event, but we could go to an event for $20.
Yep.
We would throw keggers. We would buy a keg or two and be like, "Hey, we're gonna have a kegger. Everyone pitch in $20. We'd raise $1,000 or something like that."
I think a lot of people miss the boat sometimes on that because I ran a college scholarship charity event here in Norwalk for the last 9 years. This year was the first year I didn't do it. And there'd be times where my wife and I would go, and the price to get in, and then dinner, and then this, we didn't have any money left. I mean, we really didn't feel like we could afford to bid on anything.
Yeah.
And so when I took over, I dropped the price to $20, and we started doing $17,000, $18,000, $19,000 for this event just off of a $20 dinner, because you lower the price, you can bring more people in. Now they feel like they've got some money to spend and things like that. So I think a lot of people miss the boat on that sometimes.
Right. And that's what we did. The first year we raised 8,000. We didn't have money. 25. And then, the next year, I think we raised like 20 something. And then the next year was 40 something. And then it just kept on snowballing. And, that's where we kind of learned to do events. And I got asked to be president again in 2008. And of course I was just being who my parents were and my family was, I had to say yes. And that's kind of when Bacon Fest started. We, one of my oldest friends, a guy named Marshall Porter, we would go to his lake cabin in Spirit Lake, Iowa for a weekend in the fall, and just, 10 to 15 guys. And we would, get a keg or two, but we wouldn't do it for charity with it. You have to jump in the lake to officially be at the event. And then the first year we went, we all brought, everyone brought bacon, because guys were coming from Omaha, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Chicago, Des Moines. Most were from Des Moines, but we're like, "Hey, grab something to grill, grab some beer, grab some whatever. We'll get a keg." And then when all of us showed up, there were like 13, 15 guys. I can't remember. It was so long ago. We had 30 pounds of bacon. And so we decided we weren't even there. We got there, Friday at like 5. We left Saturday morning at 8, Sunday morning at 8 a.m. So not even 48 hours. We're like, we have to constantly cook bacon. If somebody is up, you have to cook bacon to get rid of all the bacon. And, we were just idiots. And, we started this in 2001, the same year around Variety. So we were 25 and idiots. And, a couple of my buddies, like Marshall was married, Seth Hall was married. I don't think anybody else was really married around that time, but they were close. And we drank a keg and some more and ate bacon for 40 some hours and just had a great time. And we did it again in 2002. And we called that weekend Beer and Bacon. And after like the third year, the wife started getting mad because they would get so hungover, excuse me, that they would be worthless for Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe even going in, I'm sorry, on Monday and Tuesday, and then going into Wednesday, they'd still be a little hurting. And, but we wouldn't go anywhere. We'd just stay at the house the whole time. I mean, we're just, again, idiots. And so I was at the High Life in, when was it? August of 2007. And do you guys remember Juice?
No.
The weekly periodical called Juice.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
It was part of the Register. It was
It was kind of competing with City View kind of a
right.
deal. Right.
And
Yeah.
it was, they had it was great for me. And a local reporter was at the High Life, and I'm with my oldest and favorite sister Suzanne. They were like, what does Des Moines need?" And without hesitation, I said, "A festival dedicated to bacon." And it was in Juice the next week. There's like 9 faces. My face is in there. Face only a mother could love. And then Jeff Bruning, aka Bruno from the High Life Lounge, he comes up. He's like, "We can make that happen." I'm like, "Great!" So we got our heads together with Marshall Porter, Seth Hall, Jeff Bruning from the High Life, and then a lady named Mindy Toyne within any event. She was an event planner. She does Groundhog's Day at the High Life. She does the Market to Market Relay. She helped me with Bacon Fest for about 4 years. And we're like, "Okay, let's put this on, and okay, we'll raise some money." And so March 1st, 2008 was it was National Pig Day. So we're like, "Oh, that's a perfect fit." In early March in Des Moines is, nothing's going on. So we're like, "All right, let's," and this was in like September. I mean, so we had months to plan. And how many people can we fit? Is it going to sell out? Yada, what's the price? And I think it was $20. And yeah, so
And you're probably at that point worried, like, okay, are we going to sell enough? Is anybody going to show up? Like all those things are probably running through your head. It's what I used to call a circle of worry. Like, is anybody going to come? And am I going to have enough food? But what if I don't have this? And now that brings me back up here where I'm worried about this again.
well, that's the hard part with doing events with food is, again, having the adequate amount of food for the attendees. And again, not everybody's going to try every single thing. And we kind of dictate we want 80% of the amount of items for our attendance. But it was word of mouth. And this was before Facebook. This was before social media. Maybe Twitter was back then. I can't remember. I don't think so. But it was just our idiot buddies being like, "Hey, we're having this event at the High Life. You want to come? Sure. Okay." And we figured our capacity was about 200, 150 people. No, I think it was about 150 people. And then we did sell out, but we started, and this was the old school way where you had to go to the High Life, fill out a form, pen and paper, and then leave a check or cash. And it was fun. I mean, it's just fun to see an event like that. That again, it's you have no idea what it is going to turn out to, but just seeing something, again, being a part of something like that is fun and interesting, and you see a lot of weird shit throughout the years. I mean, there's a lot of weird shit. I mean, I could tell you stories about Hacksaw Jim Duggan later on, but if you want to hear some weird shit about Hacksaw,
you notice how he just drops names like it's no big deal.
We'll take a Hacksaw
B. Arthur, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan came to the Variety Telethon for 20 years. I met Jim in about 2001, and he is the nicest. He's on when he is a wrestler. When he's Hacksaw, he's fucking full of energy. But when he's not, he's mild mannered. It's like he'd be in the back reading a book. But we'll come back to Hacksaw because those stories we're gonna have a whole podcast just about Hacksaw.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I know that he's, he plays kind of the goofy guy, but he's an intelligent individual.
Oh, so intelligent. Very, and the nicest man. He and his wife Deborah actually. Today is their 35th wedding anniversary, and I saw it on Facebook. Great, two great kids, and again, just the nicest gentle giant.
Boy, how do we get Hacksaw Jim Duggan to a tailgate, Chris?
Right.
Think of how popular he would be at an Iowa State tailgate. It would be ridiculous.
Why don't you come to my tailgate in Iowa City next fall? I think it's on September 7th. You know, you can bring that ambulance up there.
I don't know that ambulance would make it out of Iowa City. But
You can park it in my spot. I'll get you a nice spot right in the front.
I might take you up on that. I plan on going to that game next year. So
I have season tickets to Iowa, and I only get to go to like 2 or 3 games a year. I'm gone a lot in the fall and
busy. Yeah.
I'm in Asia a lot. So
Asia.
As a kid, surely, I know you said your parents, did a lot of charity work and things like that. But as a kid, what was your dream job that you wanted as a kid? Because surely it wouldn't have been running a bacon fest and running a restaurant, right? Maybe.
No. I mean, that was never on my mind. I mean, I knew I liked to travel. I knew I liked to do different things. But my family, we owned a small mid-sized insurance agency, and I was always kind of pushed into that direction. I kind of, as according to my father, screwed around for a couple years after college. I mean, I didn't start working for my family company until I was 28. So I don't know. I mean, I knew I liked to travel, and I knew I wanted to just, again, see the world. And I had a few, that's why I went to Korea to teach. I mean, shit, I didn't know what I really wanted to do until I was 40. I mean, I hated selling insurance. I mean, I used to have short hair, clean cut, no facial hair, wore suits every day. I did that for almost 18 years.
So let's talk about South Korea. What prompted you to go to do that? What was the spur for that?
My mother was in the 2nd Red Cross unit in Vietnam in 1964 in Cam Ranh Bay, which is referred to as China Beach, which is actually was there last November. Anyways, mid-November I was there, but she wanted to, she was part of the Kennedy era where, ask not what you can do for your country or what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And she took that to heart, and she wanted to do something that was the beginning of the Vietnam War. And so she signed up for the Peace Corps, but they were going to send her to South America. And she was like, I'm not going to South America. So she quit the Peace Corps and she signed up for the Red Cross. And my grandfather was pissed because it's his second daughter, second of 4 children, daughter, son. But, she was, Catholic, was kind of, my aunt was, went to Catholic college, very sweet, lovely lady, ballet dancer, yada, yada, yada. Whereas my sister was the rebel. My mother was more of the, I want to go to the University of Iowa. And, but that wasn't really during the, way before, it was the folk era, I would say, not the hippie generation. But so she was the 2nd Red Cross unit in Vietnam, 64. And then she also spent 6 months in Daegu, South Korea, at an army base. And just, the stories from her growing up, she gave me that, she instilled in me the adventurous spirit. So she was there, she was over in Southeast Asia and Korea for a year, and then spent 6 months traveling back, via Papua New Guinea, Australia, South America, the Panama Canal. And actually, it's funny. My father had a bad finger, so he couldn't straighten his ring finger, his pointer, his gun finger, his trigger finger. He couldn't straighten it out. So he was what's it when you're not physically, it's not Section 8. I think, is that crazy? But he couldn't pass the physical to become
the section or F, I think, or something like that.
Section F. So his hand got my dad out of the military service in Vietnam. And when I was a little kid, we were like, how old are you, gentlemen?
I'm 53.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm old. I know I don't look it though. I'm
your age, a little 2 years younger.
That Just for Men looks great.
That's no joke. I use that, so my wife likes it.
Oh God, I need that.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, that shit works wonders now.
Well,
what's funny is you said Section 8 and talking about Korea, right? And all I can think about is MASH
and Klinger.
Klinger.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I know that. It's Section 8 is for Looney Tunes because of Mash and Klinger.
So, but you remember back in, I'm assuming in elementary and whatever, were any of your fathers in Vietnam? And I'd be like, my mother was. And so she instilled in me that adventurous spirit. And there was a website, this was, not, what year did I go? I started looking in 99, but I didn't leave until fall of 2000. But there was a place called Dave's ESL Cafe, and I found a teaching position in South Korea, and it was in Busan, which is a little bit bigger city than Daegu on the coast. And yeah, just left for Korea and was there for 10 months and lived with the family for about 3 months, and that was very interesting. The food culture is just so different, but I love it. That's what Korean food is probably my favorite. I would say Asian food, Korean, then probably Japanese. But yeah, I love that. And again, wanted to get out of Iowa for a bit. I came back. I was gone for. I was in Korea for 10 months, and then I was in Southeast Asia for 3. So I was gone over a year. I saw my mom came and visited me once. Missed Christmas, which sucked, but and that's why I travel. I mean, I was in Asia for 36 days last October and November. I was in Japan, the Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. So just and can't wait to go back. I'm going to try to go back this fall, but if the fall, because our Bacon Fest in Japan is getting postponed a year because they're going back to their original weekend in April, so they're just skipping a year, which is fine. But so if I don't go back this fall, I'll definitely go back in the spring for probably 3 weeks to Japan, which is great place to visit.
Bacon Fest Japan. Crazy. Oh, that's funny. It's just bananas that to me, because you don't think about how you get involved in all that stuff and how it snowballs into the kind of lifestyle that you have, right? Just by trying to help others, right?
Yeah.
And like everybody wants to go work and do this, but there are multiple ways to skin the cat as far as to get to see the world and do all that. There's, it's pretty incredible that you've had all of these opportunities, mostly by just trying to figure out how to help other people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. In every event that we do, we have a charitable component, and some we can give a lot, and some we give what we can. I mean, not every event's a home run, and some events happen and then fade away. And again, wherever we like our event in Iceland, for example, I think there was some infighting amongst the group of guys, and they don't do that event anymore. The pandemic kind of put a blow to everything, but though that event doesn't happen, but our connection there, he's a pediatric cardiologist who was at the University of Iowa doing rotations, or I don't know. He was at the University of Iowa Hospital for a while, and he met one of my Marshall Porter's brother, who connected us, and we started an event. We started going there in 2011, and I've been to Iceland 13 times, and we've done 8 events there, and we've raised, I think, 50 or 60,000 for their pediatric cardiology department. And it's great. And it's, again, having the ability to do fun events and raise some money. And we lose money on that event because I don't get the EU and the USDA, like the EU doesn't, unless it's a very specific processing plant, we can't send pork to Iceland. And we really don't send a lot of pork to Europe anyways, just because the EU is so strict. But, so we don't get any sponsors for that event, but we really affected bacon consumption in Iceland. In one year, I think it was like 2013, this bacon company called Ali Bacon sold 16 tons of bacon that year, which for a country of 320,000, that's a lot of effing bacon. And then in 2014, they sold 31 tons of bacon. So they almost double their bacon production, sales, and they liked us a lot. But yeah, it's so fun just to, again, and you guys, I mean, I think I was just raised and I have the ability to pretty much talk to anybody. I mean, I could talk to a wall and have a great conversation, but I'm not afraid. I'm not shy. I'm not afraid to fail. Because again, not every thing you do, you're going to hit a home run or even get a hit. You're going to strike out, and we've had some great successes and some great, I mean, lasting friends. I mean, I'm working on a project in Iceland right now, and I have a call tomorrow with one of my Iceland brothers. Actually, it's funny, we have the same birthday. And then a guy that I was with in Vietnam last fall for 9 days. We have a conference call tomorrow about doing a project in Vietnam, and again, it's just so fun to I'm now at a place in my career where I have a lot of, spare time to think of fun stuff to do. And now I think I'm more specific and particular, and I'm not as, hey, let's do every event we can. And, because I don't want to oversaturate what we do, or what I do, and just trying to, again, find the right niche and, again, some things may work and some things may not, but you just got to kind of put yourself out there and try and see what happens, and either you have a great event or that event sucks.
Yeah, I think what I want to do is I'm going to take a break here and get a word from Revelton Distilling Company, our sponsor, our primary sponsor. And then when I come back, I want to circle back on what you just said about not being afraid and fear, because that's kind of something that I've kind of turned a switch on as well here lately, and I want to dive a little bit into that. So let's get a word from Robin Christie and Revelton Distilling Company. By the way, they're teasing a new launch. So if you check out their social media, I think maybe their bourbon might be coming.
Possibly.
Yes. So, but let's get a word from them. We'll be right back.
Why take the best corn in the world and make it into fuel when you could make it into whiskey? That's the question that launched Revelton, Iowa's most visible and fastest growing distillery. Owners Rob and Christy Taylor embrace the grain-to-glass philosophy, sourcing ingredients locally and overseeing on-premises production and bottling at their facility in Osceola. One sip and you'll agree that Revelton's handcrafted whiskeys, gins, and vodkas are the best you've ever tasted. And with the launch of their rye whiskey, made with 100% Iowa-grown rye and corn, and their new bourbon coming soon, there's more Revelton to love than ever. Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
All right, and we are back. And shout out to our contestants that are going to win the Three Beards Media Bracket Challenge that we had. We've got the women's winner, and we're waiting for the men's winner tonight. And then I'll reach out and get you your bottle of whiskey or whatever spirit you choose, and a little bit of Three Beards swag. And man, we had almost 200 entries on that deal, so that was a pretty good deal. So, Brooks, you talked about not being afraid, and I remember, and I talk a lot about this on my on the podcast about 6 years ago, well, almost 7 now, when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I remember flipping a switch then and going, you know what? Life's too short. I'm not going to be afraid to try things. So in that spirit of what you said, give me an instance where you had an idea or you had something and you thought this might be the craziest fucking thing I'm ever going to try, but fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? And you tried it.
He came on this podcast.
Well, I mean, I think JR's is probably the biggest. I don't want to say it wasn't really a risk because I had nothing to lose. I mean, there was just an opportunity to create something that was outside of Bacon Fest that was different, a little, different, but
Right.
Again, but bringing people together, putting out a great product, and again, trying to just be something at the Iowa State Fair that people will enjoy, and put out some good food, cold beverages, and go from there. And that was, I mean, do you know about what kind of happened at the fair with everything that went down, why that space became available?
Isn't that the one that burned down?
No. Well,
Okay, then I don't know.
they had a place that burnt down like 15, 20 years ago.
Okay,
That's where the Cookie Building is now. And
okay.
then Stan Kranovich had a place that burnt down like 18 years ago. But no, sadly they were not paying their taxes, their income tax, sales tax, tax. I don't know the particulars. But their place got taken from them, and an RFP was sent out to 17 groups, a request for proposal to take over that space. But you had to come up with a pretty, a concept, a redesign, because you had to enhance the building. The building was was in disrepair. It needed a facelift. It needed a serious facelift. And so I know a lot of people. I love the fair. I am a fair junkie. My family moved to Iowa in 1851. I'm a sixth generation Iowan. I don't know when my ancestors came here to the fair for the first time, but I got to think it was in the 1800s. We were farmers. We were in Van Horn, Iowa. But so I just love the fair. One of my buddies owns the Bird's Nest. Another one of family friends owns Jalapeno Pete's. I knew the owner of Sterenstein before he sold it. Actually, my current girlfriend, current girlfriend, her family owns the Depot, and they're Campbell's Concessions. They're the largest
Okay.
at the fair. So again, fair junkie. So that place became available, and I got the RFP in. When did I have to turn it in? I got it in April 18th of 2020, and I needed to turn it in 2 months later with like plans and budget and concept and remodel, and I'd never done anything like that before.
Well, and let's remind everybody that was right at the height of the pandemic. So I can't imagine the thought of opening a restaurant and not even knowing if the fair was even going to be open.
Right.
That had to be an added pressure, I would imagine.
Oh, it was, but again, coming up with and I could have probably done it on my own and come up with a fun concept, but then, on the back end, just like then assembling a kitchen staff, a management staff, I employ 120 people during the 11 days of the Iowa State Fair, but then it's getting ready. And it takes a village, as I've always said. And, I sat on that for about a month, and I didn't know what to do. My father was battling lung cancer, so I was taking care of him. I wasn't working during the pandemic. I'm self-employed. I put on events. I left insurance
Right.
about 5 years ago. So, again, I was like, what the F am I going to do? And one of my old friends, a guy named Jason Schlepphorst, is the CFO for a food service company. It's a company called Greek House Chefs. They feed about 30,000 college kids a day at fraternities and sororities in like 35 states. I don't know the number. 500 chefs. And the owners, Carrie and Corey Hansen, are just the nicest people. And Jason and I saw him briefly somewhere because again, you had to socially distance and I was in passing. I was like, "Do you think your owners, Corey and Carrie, would be interested in partnering at the fair for this project?" He's like, "What project?" And kind of filled him in, and he had no idea. And so he asks his partners. His boss is Carrie and Corey, and they're like, "Yes." And like and that was probably the greatest decision in my business career was partnering with them and finding them, and again, not being afraid to ask for help and not being afraid to you know and it was not being afraid to share part of the pie, because I could have done this all on my own, been 100% owner, brought in some hired guns to work the fair. But my place is such a large establishment now that it's like I can't be everywhere.
Right.
I need people to embrace our product and our brand, and have ownership in it and have the ability to have, hey, I'm part of the team that puts this together, and we have such an amazing team. It's the Greek House Chefs executive team: Corey Carey Hansen, Frank Hines, Heath Sheely, Jason Schlepphorst, Darcy Hines, Chef Sarah Tuttle, Jackie Schlepphorst. It's all their wives, and because again, it's a family. We are a family, and they're all their kids and my nephews, and like my sister's the head of my HR and does all the scheduling, and like what JR's is named after is named after my parents. My mom's name was Jody J.
Hmm.
My last name's Reynolds. My dad's nickname in college was Rennie, so it's JR's is an ode to my folks. And we wanted it to be a kind of a Western bar, so we named it Southpork Ranch after Southpork Ranch in Dallas. But again, we so then they said yes. So we had a month to put together our concept and our brand and our logo and all the stuff that goes into it and what we're going to do for the remodel, build a kitchen, and on blueprints and doing this and doing that and la la la. And none of us had done anything of that scale, and none of us, we'd all worked at restaurants, but we've never built one, we've never started one. And it was interesting, and we met in one of their old conference rooms at their old office, and um, just just what do you, again, brainstorm, as I call it, bacon storming, but brainstorming about various names for the bar, menu items, what we're going to serve, what weird shit can we do. And we did that for almost 3 weeks. And then we had to turn in this 45 plus page RFP. And luckily we were one of the finalists. There were 3 finalists and great guys, great colleagues in the restaurant food scene. And we got to present live on July 18th of that year. And again, this was still pandemic. So, so then we had a month because that was June 18th is when we turned it in. We found out within a week that we were one of the finalists. So then we had 3 weeks to kind of enhance what we were going to do. And it was one of the, we were confident. We thought we had a good concept. And we actually came in second. We didn't win the project. And
Really?
yeah, and so we were bummed. We were sad and depressed, and shit. My business partners, they bought Manhattan Deli.
Huh.
They were like, yeah, we're just gonna buy a deli, and I was taking care of my father, and they gave him 6 months to live, and he lived almost 3 years. So that was a fun 3 years, but. I was gonna probably go to Japan and go to Asia and do more, business over there and try to again find a niche and see what happens. So in about October of that year, because again, pandemic was still going on, I get a call, and the group that won it I think it was like they couldn't find the money or they didn't have the money or
Couldn't get
'cause
financing, whatever.
because it's what type of bank is going to give a hefty loan to a business that's open 20 days a year, maybe
Yeah.
25.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not no banker in the right. I mean, I've asked some of my banker buddies, Eric Taylor, shout out to you, thank you, sir. I go, would you ever underwrite this? He's like, God no. He's like, how'd you get the money? I'm like, well, I mean, we privately financed it. I mean, I was fortunate. My father was retired. I mean, basically retired, but had the ability to give me a pretty decent loan. I mean, so I got a loan, but a non-traditional loan. And, again, then, so we get the call like, hey, you want to go in? And I'm like, sure. And I was, so I'm in Omaha the weekend before I'd have to go in and talk to the fair. And they wanted me to meet with the concessionaires committee. So I go to a wine dinner with Travis Justice in Omaha, some Italian wine, and I have a lady friend I'm dating at the time. We both get Corona we both find out we have COVID on Monday, and my meeting's on Tuesday.
Oh,
And I'm just like, gosh. So I call the fair. I'm like, I can't meet. We're like, well, can you Zoom? I'm like, sure. So I had a Zoom with 5 individuals from the fair, and that was the most nervous presentation of my life because I knew we had a pretty good chance to get it, and it was one of those things where I don't think I'm going to screw up, but I did it at my house, and it was an hour, and they just grilled me about X, what we're going to do, and and that was, you know, well, maybe it was on a Thursday. I don't think it was on a Tuesday, but then that following Monday, we're actually moving our offices, and we were moving from downtown to Valley Junction, and I get a call from the then food and beverage committee member or commission. No, what is he? The food director at the fair, Mike Nye, and he's like, "Hey, we're going with you," and I'm like, you know, hoot and hollered, and I cried. I thought of my mother. My mother would have loved it. It was her great uncle, her uncles, my great uncles had booths at the fair in the 40s when they got back from World War II. You know, and again, it would have she would have loved to seen this and seen again this. You know, how I got into this was, you know, learning how to put on small charity events when I was a teenager, and, you know, doing events in high school. And I mean, I was voted biggest partier in my high school class at Roosevelt in 1994.
I was 94. I don't know, getting kicked out of Iowa State at about that time. So for partying. So had to take a short detour into DMAC for a couple semesters.
Can't take you to anywhere. Gee, Christmas.
That's right.
It happens.
That's right. Aaron, you want to ask the Wintrust Mortgage question of the pod?
No, but I will.
All right.
So that's a good one. I got to think. I got a couple in my head, and I want to make sure I ask the right one. I'm going to veer off of Chris's ideas and go with one we used to ask on bidder units, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. So the Wintrust mortgage question, and we'll play the ad after I ask this question so you can think about your answer. You are stranded on a desert island, and you can only have 3 to 5 things to eat. Well, let's just say consume. So you can have beverages and food, whatever you want to do, for the entire time you're there. Now, it's a magical island. Everything is perfect all the time. So whatever you want, it's always perfect. And then because you're the Bacon Fest guy, we're going to eliminate bacon as an option.
Okay.
So 3 to 5 things to consume on a desert island. You are stranded.
Is water? Am I already?
No, that's a given. Water's a given.
I'm gonna go 5 because I want to have all 5 items. You know?
Okay.
Right. So well, think about it. We're gonna play hold on. We're gonna play the ad first, and then you give us your answer when we come back.
All right. So let's get a word from Kyle at Wintrust Mortgage.
Are you in the market for a new house and unsure of the mortgage process? Want to know that you have someone looking out for you? Kyle Lehman from Wintrust Mortgage is a down-to-earth, knowledgeable lender who can be there for you in your corner. He can work with you in any of the 50 states and is just what you need to expand your home search. Kyle will work with you through the entire process with little to no work from you. Take the worry of the mortgage process out of the equation so that you can focus on looking for your dream home. Contact Kyle at www.wintrust.com/Kyle-Lehman or call him at 515-473-0546.
All right, and we're back. Check out Kyle for any mortgage needs you have. He saved me a ton of money a couple years ago. So if you're looking for somebody to get you through that process, you certainly want to talk to Kyle. All right, Brooks, what's your answer?
I would like Cold Stone Creamery's butter pecan ice cream with Reese's peanut butter cups and Butterfingers.
Coming out strong with the dessert.
So I've got a real bad sweet tooth, and I would really like that. I'm going to need something for sustenance. Where is this island? Is it a tropical island, or is it the fucking is it Iceland? Is it going to be cold?
No, it's like the perfect island. It's magical.
Okay, magical island.
Yeah.
I already know what my last answer is going to be.
Magically perfect food. It's got to be a magical island too.
Magically perfect food. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think what's very versatile that I can use. I mean, I I would like a la mi croissant. I would like.
Hey, that's no joke. That stuff is good stuff.
You say I already get bacon, or I can't have bacon.
You can't have bacon.
Bacon is off the table.
Ugh.
Not even the British crappy version.
Then I was going to say lettuce, tomato, and Miracle Whip, so I can make a croissant BLT, a griddled croissant BLT where you actually toast the croissant. Delicious. I been eating a lot of fish lately, and I really like Arctic char, Icelandic Arctic char. I like to cook it various ways.
I don't even know what that is.
It's kind of like between a salmon and a trout.
Okay.
Have you ever had those vegetable haystacks from Trader Joe's?
I have not.
No.
They're like, have you ever had a hamul pajan, which is a green onion Korean pancake?
I have not.
I actually had them yesterday for lunch. They're delicious. The vegetable haystacks from Trader Joe's. So ice cream, croissant, vegetable haystacks. Fifth item,
Arctic char. So that's 4. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. So you're on your 5th item.
Is this supposed to be? Do you want this? Like PG-13?
No, we are not a PG-13
or
pod.
NC-17.
Did you not hear the disclaimer at the beginning that says it may not be suitable for children of all ages?
And I want my girlfriend's pussy.
That's
Because
I knew that was
that totally
I knew
counts.
That was coming.
You said it's perfect. I mean, it's
God,
great.
we're 50 minutes in and he finally loosened up.
We dropped an F-bomb earlier.
I try not to swear as much anymore. My sister thinks I swear too much because I swear in front of her. My oldest sister has 3 sons, and she says I'm too crass in front of them. I mean,
oh goodness!
I'm not going to tell. I'm going to send her this. I'm going to send her this link when it's ready, and I'm going to be like, "Sorry." She's like, "What'd you say?" And I'm like,
The 50-minute mark, you might want to just hit the double speed.
Don't listen to me.
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
That's right. That's
right. So, what is? Now we'll get back to bacon a little bit. So you've obviously seen, let's say thousands, easily probably, of different ways bacon has been used. What's the best, maybe not even best, most creative thing you've ever had with bacon?
Have you ever been to Splash? Chef Dom Inarelli, he used to be the executive chef at Jethro's and Splash.
No.
So Dom is a great old friend. I mean, he went to Iowa State. He was gonna be an engineer, but then he got into food and self-taught, and he actually comes to Japan with me. He did this dinner. We used to have this dinner called Bacon Elegance. We did it at Splash, 6 or 7, 8 years ago. I can't remember. It was like a 9-course dinner that was like 10,000 calories. He was serving these 10-ounce filet wrapped in bacon with like a bacon wrapped lobster tail and like a bacon lobster mash and like this as like full fucking entree portions. But it was like every single dish was like a full portion. And like people are like, I got 8 more courses to go and I'm already full. And like people had like to-go boxes so they could like eat like a third of their dish and then put it in. And he made this meal, and it was, everything had bacon in it. Cocktails had bacon, but that almost like a pound, maybe an 8-ounce lobster tail wrapped in bacon. I can't. Again, I have the menu somewhere, but I haven't. I've eaten so many fun. Like Tony Lemo did a dinner the same way. That was great. We did one at the Iowa Culinary Institute. We've had so much fun with just the weird culinary things that we've had with bacon. We were in Iceland, for example, and we've had bacon wrapped whale. I mean, the first year we ever went to Iceland was in the fall of 2011. And we're up in the foothills outside of Reykjavik, probably an hour or 2 out, and we're seeing the northern lights. But we go to this little cabin I would say a cabin in the woods, but they don't have many woods. And they brought whale, and we had seared whale that was then wrapped in bacon, and we ate it. And whale is interesting. Actually, it's you can get good whale. Sometimes you can get bad whale, because I've had bad whale a couple times. But it's oily. It's like just like a steak, but it's just a little more oily, almost like mackerel. But I'm trying to, we make this chef Sarah Tuttle at JR's. She's a pastry chef, and I'll be like, hey, think of some weird shit to make with bacon. And she made these like banana and bacon part of foam, part of something. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's like are they cream puffs or not a cream puff or pedophore, not pedophores. It's like a little pastry, but then it has like a cream inside. And she makes those with like
Pot of shoe?
pot of shoe. Is that what I'm thinking about? Is that right?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I think that's what it is. But it's something that's like, take on an Elvis sandwich. So there's banana, bacon, peanut butter, honey, whatever. It's just, my friend Chef Katie Harvey Martinez, who's used to own Harvey's in Redfield. She's done some amazing things. Lance Avery, who owns Big Fork Sausage. I mean, I've been fortunate that I've been able to meet a lot of fun chefs in the world. Like, do you remember? Well, Aaron, how long have you been out in Washington?
7 years.
Did you ever go to Pock Pock in Portland?
No.
Have you heard of it though? They had a Thai caramel chicken wing. And they're marinated in fish sauce. It sounds weird, but they're one of the most delicious wings. Anyways, that chef Andy Ricker, James Beard Award winner, like I've met him through bacon and food and doing weird, roasting whole hogs in northeast Vietnam. And, just again, having fun, weird opportunities to meet random people through food. And food brings people together. People want to try fun, interesting things, and food's a good way to do it. And, that's kind of how whenever I travel, I mean, I don't eat fast food. I eat local diners and weird restaurants and hole in the walls, and just trying to find out what's specific and unique to that region, culture, whatever. And like I was in Miami 6 weeks ago, and ate at this a Jewish deli, ate at a Cuban restaurant, ate just again try to get as much local flair as I can wherever I go.
That's kind of my wife and I, when the kids got older this last year and we have a couple friends, that's kind of what we do now just around in Iowa is we find little places that we've never been to or whatever. And like just like a week and a half ago, we looked at the list of the top 10 burgers in Iowa, and we drove down to Milo on a random Thursday night and went to this podunk little restaurant in the middle of Milo, and it was great. It was fun, and they had great, awesome drinks, and it was a lot of fun. So it's fun to discover those things. God knows it's hard enough for me to figure out what to make for dinner every night. People are out here making fancy banana and bacon pastries. I can't even figure out what to make for dinner at night. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I would tell you, Chris, place you got to go that's not that far away. When I lived there, out in Anita, Iowa, the Redwood Steakhouse. It's the best onion rings in the world.
Wow.
Redwood, one of the ladies I started Young Variety with, Shelly Rankins from Anita. Her dad still lives there.
Yeah, I taught school there for 3 years before I moved away from Iowa, and that place, when I lived there, and I believe they still do, I don't think it's changed a whole lot. They used to do the relish trays, with when you ordered the dinner still, and it's pretty great place to eat, and it's not that far away. It's like an hour, right?
Is it like a supper club?
I mean, it's an old school steakhouse, right? So dark, dingy,
Yeah.
not dingy because it's clean, but you know what I mean? That dark wood kind of feel to it.
Oh yeah.
It's just on the outside of town. It's good food. But the onion rings, best I've ever had.
I absolutely love onion rings. I love
Thin,
them.
thin onion rings.
Yeah, they're the thin, sweet
Yeah,
onion rings, like onion strings. They're the best.
I don't care. I'll eat the thick ones too. The old Lot Pizza House on Southeast 14th. Those big thick onion rings were really good too.
Oh, we have thick onion rings at the fair.
Oh my god, I
And
love them.
and there's a hot box just right in the kitchen, right near the door. So I'll open that up and I'll grab two, and I'll get looks from my head chef. He's like, "You should have gloves on." I'm like, "No, I'm only touching these two."
I'm just touching the two I'm eating. That's
Yeah.
right. Marcus Pfizer wants your hat, Aaron.
I see that. I'll have to tell him where I found it as soon as I remember. I think I got it off of Fanatics or something like that.
Who's Marcus Pfizer? Is he like a football player?
Shut up, Brooks. Now you're just pissing me off.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I do tell a certain amount of people that JR's is actually named after Jake Remsburg, O lineman for the Cyclones.
Yeah.
He's a family friend, but no, I like Cyclones. Some of them, you know, few.
Some of them.
We'll get you hooked up, Marcus.
I caddied for Tim Floyd at a charity event when was he coach? 95?
He coached Marcus. Marcus.
Yeah,
he was there from 96 to 99. So
yeah, so it was. I don't remember, but I had to be. I think I was 20 or 21, and I basically had to drive coach around Glen Oaks at the Variety Children's Charity golf outing. And he's like, "Hi, Tim Floyd." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, I know who you are, coach." And I go, "I'm a Hawkeye fan." I think I was going to Iowa at the time or something like that. But he was so nice. So nice.
that's great. Well, in the spirit of your charity work, we at Three Beards Media try to do a little bit of charity work every time we do an outing or something like that. We run a little kind of a pseudo sponsored segment here where Steph Copley was a guest on our podcast at one point, and the hosts on this show would not shut the fuck up. So she finally said, if you guys would shut the fuck up, I could get my point across. So we thought it was so funny that we decided to make that a sponsored segment, and we asked her to name a charity, and she has picked the Young Women's Resource Center. So what we're going to do is we're going to play an ad. We're going to invite you to donate to the Young Women's Resource Center. And then when we're done, Aaron and I have to shut the fuck up, and Brooks, you get to say whatever you want without us interrupting. So let's get a word about the Young Women's Resource Center. That would be the wrong ad. Sorry, that's the closing. Let's try this again.
Hey everybody, it's Steph Copley, the woman behind the STFU segment on the Old Man Strength podcast. When I told the guys I wanted to sponsor this segment, they recommended that I make a charitable donation instead, so that's what I did. I chose the Young Women's Resource Center in Des Moines, Iowa. They're a nonprofit that supports, educates, and advocates for girls and young women ages 10 to 24. Their whole goal is to make sure that these young women become strong, self-confident, and successful. And if you know me at all, you know that aligns with my goals as well. If you're interested and would like to donate, check them out at ywrc.org and donate today. And remember, don't forget to STFU and listen every once in a while. Thanks.
All right, Brooks. Aaron and I can't say a word. You can say whatever you want.
What do you
about any subject,
Any subject
whatever you think the world needs to hear.
Whatever the world needs to hear. Sure, yeah. I hope to see you at the Blue Ribbon Bacon Festival on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Would love to see you there, and then I'll also see you at Good Guys during the Good Guys Auto Show in July. Obviously, that's going to be a fun event at the Iowa State Fairgrounds, July 5th, 6th, and 7th. But then again, you need to come to JR's. Don't go to any other bar. Come to my bar during the Iowa State Fair. This is going to be our 4th year. We're really going to have a lot of fun at the Iowa State Fair. We have 4 bands every single day. A couple days we have 5 bands. Tyler Richmond and the High Bank Boys are our headliners. They're actually playing 8 nights we're going to have by then, I think, 94 beers on tap. We'll have 30 bartenders be able to service you. So you get we have the fastest transaction time of any place at the fair. Better than the depot, because their owner, Eric Campbell, he's a ginger, might be dating his sister. He's a pretty good guy. When he doesn't he needs to shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Again, hope to see you at the fair. I always loved kind of telling my story. So thank you so much for having me on. It's been a great honor. We appreciate appreciate you letting me, as I say, spread my bullshit. And we hope to be doing this for a lot longer. And let's see what weird shit we can stir up here in the next 2 decades or so before I hang it up.
Perfect. That's right. Well, we're a minute and 5 minutes in, or an hour and 5 minutes in, so I'm pretty sure nobody else is listening. So now you can tell that Jim Duggan story.
Oh my God. So Jim was always just, again, gentle giant. But the aches and pains of that his body took over the years. I mean, sadly, as the last time I saw him, I brought him back to Bacon Fest last year because he's had some health problems over the years and he has not been able to work as much as he normally does. And it was one of those kind of, hey buddy, thank you so much for coming the 3 previous years and doing whatever, like I'll ask him like, hey, can you make the video? La la. He's like, yep. And so this was, shoot, I could ask my buddy, but I want to say like, I think, what was the first time I brought him? It's probably like 10 years ago, maybe. He's in town for the telethon, and he would take Vicodin or Advil or whatever, but those guys would pop pills like they were Tic Tacs, unfortunately. But that's, again, their bodies were beaten down, but his drug of choice was marijuana. And he's like, Brooksy, can you get me some pizza? I'm like, pizza? What are you talking about? He's like, Brooksy, I need some pizza. And I'm like, yeah, my friend owns Fong's Pizza. That guy's like, that's not the kind of pizza I'm talking about, buddy. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I need some weed. I need to take some whatever, some grass. I'm like, oh shit. So we're literally at a black tie dinner. Friday night, he has to, so I text my buddy who lives downtown Des Moines. I go, hey, you home? He goes, yeah. I go, can I bring Hacksaw over? He goes, of course. He's like, for what? I go, I need to see the Snow Princess. He's like, done. He's like, and I'm like, we're going to be there in like 5 minutes. He's like, okay. I mean, literally, we were going from the convention center. No, yeah. The ballroom at the convention center on 3rd. We go down to White Line Lofts. And my buddy has a 2-foot double bubble glass, beautiful bong. But on the top of it is a sticker that says the Snow Princess. And so we proceed to go into my buddy's and you put ice in the bong. And I took a hit and I got rocked. We did a round. And then Hacksaw does like 3 more. And we're like, I'm like house. So I do another one. And I am, I'm just, woo. My other buddy does 1. Hacksaw does 3 more. So he's like, you get 3-1. So he's like 6 in. And I mean, it's like nothing. And so again, he's like, all right, let's go, boys. So my buddy and I both take another one. And I am like gone. I mean, just, I can't like see straight. He takes 4 more. 4. And I seriously, I
want to pass out just listening.
Okay. I'm sorry I'm name dropping here again.
That's
but
right.
I've smoked weed with Snoop Dogg twice. At Coachella once and once here in Des Moines. I had never seen anyone like Hacksaw do what he did in my life and not just be I was a puddle. And he was like, nothing fazed him. And then I'm like, he's like, hey buddy, we got to get back to that. I got to get back to that dinner. So this is like 30 minutes after we left. I mean, I'm like, "What?" And we go back and he's like, all right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. But again, he is the nicest man. And one time at Bacon Fest, we used to rent rooms at the Savory downtown. I knew the manager at the Savory, Tara McFarland, or I can't remember what her name is, Tara, something like that. And there are some great old rooms at the Savory. And they used to have a penthouse on the 11th floor. And it was a 3-room penthouse that had like great master, kind of this like dining room, then long kind of living room, 2 bathrooms with showers, and then it had a effing fucking deck on the top floor of the building that overlooked. You could kind of see Nolan Plaza, the parking garage, the traveler sign, and I rented that place out for 3 years. It's no longer available, but we would have parties there afterwards. I mean, one year we brought in a fire breathing Elvis impersonator who was also a little person. We had a wedding. We had a wedding with like people, like opera singers there and hacksaw. And then like across the way at like the Civic Center, it was some type of weird musical that was in town. So we had all these like dancers and singers. There's probably like 100 people in this party. I mean, just, guys from Iceland. I mean, yeah, shit got weird, as they say. But again, it was just the fun stuff that we've done. And, Iceland's great. Those guys are great. Japan, what we did there, that event only started. So found out about do you know what the Iowa hog lift is?
No.
So in 1959, there were 2 typhoons that hit the Yamanashi region of Japan, which is about 75 miles west of Tokyo. And during the Marshall Plan, the reconstruction of Japan after the war, there was a huge U.S. military presence there. And there was an Army officer from Iowa, and I can't remember his name offhand. I should know this. But he helped with it's called the Iowa Hog Lift. We sent 36 hogs and 100,000 bushels of corn for relief effort to Yamanashi, Japan. And a friend of mine named Heather Davis Carmen told me about that. And I was like, well, shit, we should just do a bacon festival there. And I just started cold calling and finding out who to talk to, and went to the Des Moines Sister City Commission, because they're Des Moines and Kofu, Japan, where Yamanashi is, our sister cities. They don't have any money. They weren't really organized that well. And then I went to the Iowa Sister State Commission, and they don't have any money, and they were somewhat organized. And 3 years later, they sent a group here, and then we had a bacon festival there. And then I've been to Japan 6 times. We've had 5 bacon festivals since 2017. Obviously, the pandemic put a damper in that. But like last year, I was there in October. We dressed up. We participated in a samurai parade, the largest samurai reenactment parade. I was in that parade last fall. I mean, yeah,
Fun.
yeah.
My buddy Bill Blank has a theory that
Wait. You're friends with that asshole?
Oh yeah.
Can you text him right now and tell him I'm on this? And then I told you that he said he can fuck off.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Him and I are recording tomorrow night on our podcast tomorrow night. So
what's his? He needs to chill out about the refs.
I'm aware. Hold on. Let me text Brooks Reynolds.
No, don't even use my last name, because if he thinks it's what Brooks, then I'm going to be really pissed.
Yeah.
You're a
what do you mean, what
asshole,
Brooks?
asshole, and stop beating up on refs. Okay, we'll see what he says.
I love Billy.
Bill's great. No, but my point is Bill's philosophy in life is if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Like I'm just for the rest of my life, I'm going to do whatever I want to do that's fun.
I'm surprised. Oh yeah,
that kind of sounds like you.
Yeah, why not? No, I'm just surprised that he's on all those Iowa like videos and posters. I mean, because he ain't that pretty.
he's, he's not.
No, I love Billy. I was gonna. I went to what's his son's name again?
His son's name is Billy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's doing that, is it kickboxing or
No, he's
is
pro
it,
wrestling.
he's pro wrestling? Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been to one of Billy's pro wrestling matches. Is he still at Impact Pro Wrestling?
No, I'm not sure what he's doing. Bill actually texted me the other day. They're going to do an event in September. It's called Absolute Pro Wrestling. It's an event sponsorship, and Three Beards Media is going to be the primary sponsor. So
Well, that'll be fun. If I'm in town, I'll try to go. But yeah, no, Billy's great. Billy's great.
Absolutely. Brooks, I really appreciate you coming on. I can't say that I won't, now that we are friends, that I won't use you to get more guests, since you're going to name drop a bunch of people. So,
I mean, I could probably get you Hacksaw Snoop, might be a stretch. B. Arthur, She Dead. Yeah. Again, hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Again, if you guys need any help, if you want to give away any Bacon Fest tickets, you're more than I can send a couple your way, some early entry tickets if you want to do that or whatever. We're happy to give those out. But
yeah, I'll text you and we'll set something up. So,
awesome.
And I'll even let you get your picture in front of my ambulance. So,
sure.
All right. Aaron, thank you guys so much. Brooks, again,
Thanks,
thank
Brooks.
you very much. Really appreciate
anytime.
it.
Have a great day.
Yep. You guys have a great day. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Check out the rest of our podcasts on the Three Beards Media Network. We do have a couple new pods coming out. As soon as Amy gets off her ass and finishes the graphics for those, then...
Buddy, you are going to get it now.
I know. She ain't listening. All right. Anyways, everybody have a great night. Thank you to our sponsors, Revelton Distilling Company and Kyle at Wintrust Mortgage. And with that, we are out of here.